Now, if this is what I'm going to do, this is my career, I'm going to go in 110%. I'm going to be so over the top pizza. You're going to be like, something is wrong with this guy. Like, it just doesn't add up. What's wrong with him?
Hello, everyone listening. Today we have a very, very special guest, Dean Litster from Windsor, Ontario. Actually, Amherst, right?
Amherstburg, Ontario. But
Amherstburg.
it's still the same. We're 20 minutes away from Windsor, so it's all good.
Welcome to the show. What's good, dough?
Oh, not much. Just relaxing. What about you?
I'm relaxed. I'm feeling good.
Good.
And I'm thankful that you're on.
I appreciate that. I'm thankful to be here.
Very cool. I guess we can start. I first was put onto you by George Kalivas, who did the Windsor style pizza documentary, The Pizza City You've Never Heard of. And I think for those people who don't know what that is, I would like to first shout out Windsor style pizza and maybe get them on to it. Can you let us know what that is so that people know what kind of pizza you're working with?
Yeah, of course, man. Windsor style pizza is obviously our regional style of pizza, and it has some pretty key characteristics, but some interesting ones that set us apart from anybody else in the world. And the first thing we always do is put the cornmeal down on the peel first, and that's something that you don't see everywhere. A lot of people cooking on screens. That's not what we do here. Not afraid of the stone. You put a little cornmeal down, and away we go. Then we start with our dough. Windsor has very high quality water, just like New York. That's what makes the pizza so good. You can't have good pizza without good water. It's just that simple. We use it's similar to like an old school bread dough kind of recipe, not a super high hydration. And it's not a thin crust, but it's not a thick crust. It's like right in between. I hand toss every pizza. You get a nice light, fluffy, tender bite with an actual crust to hold on to. And then we put our sauce. We don't use like a local tomato per se. We're using more California. So you get that bright red color, a little bit of sweetness. And that's part of that Windsor like style of sauce. And then the cheese made from Galati cheese. Galati cheese is a local cheese producer in Windsor, Essex. They use all of the milk from this entire region to make cheese. And every pizza place in Windsor orders that cheese. We're all competitors. We all use the same cheese. It's that good. And you saw, I don't know if you've had a chance to see the documentary or not, but you'll see some pretty wild cheese pulls, and it's just because you got that really high fat mozzarella. It's so good. And I'd say some of our most interesting characteristics. Now we're going to move into the topping section. We shred our pepperoni. You will not see round cup pepperonis, shredded pepperoni. And that throws a lot of people from outside this region for a loop. There's a lot of reasons for it. One, ease of topping the pizza. It's really fast. And two, that grease releases to the whole pizza, not just in the cups. So now you get pepperoni flavor and pepperoni in every single bite because it's shredded. And then the last characteristic, which is crazy to the rest of the world, canned mushrooms.
I think you have an explanation for canned mushrooms and why you use that, because I've heard you say it in different interviews and videos. Maybe you can kind of briefly go over why canned mushrooms are used.
Yeah, so when pizza became big in this region, in the 50s, there were no mushroom farms. So there was no access to fresh mushrooms. So they just went with canned mushrooms. So it's just literally became what was available at the time. But over generation, it's ingrained in this society in Windsor, Essex, to eat canned mushrooms and shredded pepperoni.
I love having you on, just to say, because I didn't get this type of like information from George, and you're able to kind of bring the story and the why behind the toppings and the ingredients, which to me, I felt like the conversation lacked a bit. And the biggest thing for me was the cheese. I was just like, what is Galati cheese? And as I heard you talk more about it, it's like, this is the milk. This is our milk right here. And this is what we all use. And that's what makes it special. So that I find fascinating. That's pretty cool. My question for you is, how the heck do I shred pepperoni? Because I want to make a pizza dedicated to you, and I don't know how to do that.
Okay, well, you just got to get your whole stick pepperoni. Like, normally that's what you would just slice to get your rounds. If you're at home, just get the box grater that you just grated your cheese on and grate the pepperoni on it. That's all we do. We have every pizzeria pretty much in, North America. They have Hobart dough mixers, which have attachments for shredding cheese. Well, you use that same attachment to shred the pepperoni.
Ah,
And honestly, Windsor has become such a big scene for pizza and pepperoni shredding that there's a company out of Montreal that approached us to try and secure Windsor pizza business by creating a pepperoni that's for us and comes shredded. So that was a really big kind of change for us because I've been in this business 20 years and for 15 of those years, we were shredding pepperoni. It's only the last 4 or 5 years that this pre-shred has come into play, and it's actually pretty nice. I'm not going to lie. And I'll tell you what, my drivers like it a lot more than I do because they were the ones doing the work before. So
your drivers, you mean like the people who, like the people delivering the pizza?
Yeah.
It was their role to shred the pepperoni as well?
Yeah, like we don't run, like my particular store, we don't run a delivery service. We have our own delivery drivers. So I pay you hourly, I pay you per delivery, plus you get tipped out. These guys they're making good money. So in between, you just have to do a little bit of work.
That's smart. That is. Do they have any other duties other than that? Because I kind of like that model.
Well, my store is takeout only still. So if you think about your volume of dishes, they're pretty low. It's just kitchen dishes, right? So that's the driver's job is they do dishes, fold boxes, answer the phones, very minor, small prep. Most of the time, the cheese is already shredded before they come in. But yeah, no, they're a regular employee. They just go out on the road. If you would look at it, they're a server per se, right? They go out on the road. We can deliver alcohol now in Ontario, which is new too. So Ontario's a little behind the rest of the world when it comes to access of things. So now they're literally a server and they make what a server could make in a 4-hour shift.
Dang.
Yeah, these guys, they're good. They're happy to be out here.
While I have you on this topic of Windsor style pizza, just one final one is some people on the YouTube comments of the video have said that, challenged per se, that Windsor style pizza is just a set of toppings. It's not really a specific style because the dough isn't manipulated a certain way, much like Altaglio in Rome or Detroit. What do you say to that? Just out of curiosity.
That'd be like me saying that their regional style didn't hold value because I didn't see value in it. At the end of the day, saying Windsor pizza is the best isn't just something we say. I've brought that to the competition table and placed third in the world with a shredded pepperoni canned mushroom pizza that we sell every single day. So I don't know. Like, yeah, our dough, for them to say it's not manipulated enough, how could they know? Like I'm there making the dough every day. Like it's all a personal preference. I like I said, our pizza dough I think is a little bit similar to like a bread recipe. So from an artisanal pizza standpoint, it's easy to kind of look down on that. But yeah, that's just the regional style and it works. And when you come into Windsor, Essex, yeah, Domino's and Pizza and Little C's, they're here. But not like other cities. These guys do not have a stranglehold on our business. Like the local chains hold all the weight. And, like Armando's that I'm a franchise owner of, there's 10 locations in Windsor, Essex. There's 400,000 people in Windsor, Essex. We have 10 locations. Domino's might have 15. Like that's really not that many when you think about the area we're in.
I love that answer. I am looking forward to trying Windsor style pizza, and I'm actually specifically looking forward to trying yours.
Well, I appreciate that.
Only because, what I've seen in the documentary and why I was so interested in talking to you is because you live this pizza life. You said you've been doing this, for so many years. You got started as a box boy, as we were talking about how you have some delivery drivers folding boxes now, but you're also committed to elevating the craft. I've seen you in different videos. You're talking about how you don't use rolling pins, and I kind of just want to get your backstory, and so that the audience can hear, because they clearly don't have the whole picture. How and why did you get started in pizza? And we'll start there, and we'll continue the conversation.
Okay, well, it started like any teenager's first job. Was looking for a part-time job to start getting by. I was 15. I'm not family with, the company I'm with. I was literally just a hire at 15. And I started just, folding boxes and like, oh, do you want to learn how to make pizzas? Like, okay. So I start making pizzas and time starts to go past, and even like 16, 17, 18, 19 wasn't really what I imagined my career being. I went to school for radio and TV broadcasting. I thought that my life was going to go in that direction. And when I turned 20, the crossroad presented itself where it was try to go and pursue the audio video aspect or manage this pizza place that I had now been working at for 5 years. And the opportunity I had with the video side that I was going to take, it kind of fell apart at the moment where I was going to leave the pizza job. And I was like, okay, well, I will do the pizza job. And now if this is what I'm going to do, this is my career, I'm going to go in 110%. I'm going to be so over the top pizza. You're going to be like, something is wrong with this guy. Like, it just doesn't add up. What's wrong with him? And that was what started it. And then I started on my own researching online for pizza forums, reading about dough, flour, yeast, understanding what makes dough work, understanding that, because I really wanted to get the dough. You can't make a nice painting with a shitty canvas. So like, you can't make great pizza without good dough. So I started diving deep in that. Basically, my boss I worked for started to take notice that I was like stepping up my game and really getting invested. And that was the first time he looked at me one day. He was like, oh, what are you? And it's like Saturday. What are you doing on Monday? I don't know. Taking the day off. You want to go to Vegas for a few days? I'm like, well, what's going on there? Well, it's the Pizza Expo. I want you to go check it out. I can't go. I want you to go. So that was like my first introduction to the Pizza Expo. And I thought I liked pizza before I went to the Pizza Expo. And I know that you've been. And I know that when you're there, you're like, holy shit, there's 10,000 people that love pizza, maybe more than I do. And it's so cool to be in that setting. I sat in on a ton of seminars. And honestly, the most like touching, groundbreaking, inspirational seminar was a Tony Gemignani seminar. And it sparked my interest so deeply in pan style, deep dish style pizzas that I was like, I'm going in on this 200% now. And I came away from that in 2014 and was like, I get back home, like, why are we not competing in this? Like, we're missing a huge opportunity. And honestly, my boss really saw that I was taking an interest and ready to push things to the next level. And it got him fired up, and we started working really hard on new things. And he would send me to different courses and seminars and classes all over North America to just gain more knowledge about pizza. And yeah, that's basically how I got started. And I look at it like, now we have our regional style of Windsor pizza, but I want to push it because that's what I do. I push things. I like to take pizza in a direction that the average consumer would look at and be like, well, I couldn't imagine these things go together, or that crust tastes the way it does. And yeah, I'm still like, I think about pizza nonstop. It's all I think about when I'm not at work, where me and my partner are talking about what can we do to elevate things to the next level again.
Oh, I love that. And so many avenues to take. I think we first stick with the fact that you had an amazing manager who believed and trusted in you to go to Vegas. I'm sure you were a younger guy, like 7 years ago, right? And it's just like he's giving you all of this responsibility now, and that ultimately ended up becoming into more responsibilities, right? You became the head pizza maker over at Armando's.
Yeah.
And I guess where I'm curious is like, how did you? I don't think you all were focused on the dough as much as you were, and how did you kind of shift that culture in the organization to say, hey, we need to elevate the way we do our dough? Was that an easy conversation?
It was definitely easier than you might think. Armando's been around since 1967. So you're basically trying to get them to make small tweaks to a 50-year-old dough recipe that's still the original recipe. And, it's easy to just talk, but when you can show them the proof, like, hey, I think you need to do this, but this is why, and I'll show you. And you eat that pizza and they're like, yeah, let's make that change now. And like, we're not talking a profound change to the recipe. We're talking a very slight modification of of the recipe and change a couple of the percentages just a little bit, and we're firing on a much better product. And not to discredit the product of the past. It was just, I think that now we're offering something very special.
What were some of the changes? Can you be a little bit more specific other than hydration?
It was hydration. It was an oil percentage. Pretty much just those things. We switched from using a fresh yeast to an instant dry, which was that's kind of hard to change people off of because that's an old school way of doing things. But I mean, if you follow the way the dough's going and what commercial pizza makers are using, instant dry yeast is just so much more predictable, and it's very consistent in its reaction. Whereas with fresh yeast, if you don't know what you're looking at, you could be using yeast that's dead already. You could be just compromising everything. And trust me, I tried experimenting again with fresh yeast, thinking like it makes this profound difference. I don't know. Your people in your comment sections are going to tell me that I don't know what's up, but I've tried it. It didn't work for me. And at the end of the day, you have to kind of go with what works for your customers. It's not always about what I like. I found that the product wasn't working that well, so I just kind of made some changes again. Even when I made the pizza that placed #1 in Canada, that was still made with instant dry yeast. It was a 4-day multiple fermentation process, but yeah, there's just things you have to use that are just the right way to go.
Definitely. I personally like commercial. When I do use commercial yeast, I like IDY. I like it for the same reasons you do. I don't know where to get fresh yeast, and I don't know what to look for, and so yeah, I'm totally happy with using instant dry yeast. And then I don't have to bloom it like active dry or put sugar or anything like that. I'm chill with that.
Yeah, you don't. That's the problem. Is even with a lot of these doughs, you don't want to put sugar in them. It speeds up the reaction of the yeast. It starts to make the dough a little bit harder to control. So I've played around with different styles of dough that have, 24-hour room temperature fermentations and then 96-hour 2-stage cold fermentations. And at the end of the day, they all make good pizza. It's all about what you're trying to achieve with that pizza, though.
You talked a lot about competing, and you talked a lot about just putting wild combinations, and people are trying them and they can't believe that it worked. What are some of the combinations that you've won with and haven't won with? And I'd like to hear about those.
Sure. So like I said, I've been competing for a long time, and there was a lot of, I would say missteps along the way that you just think is the right way to go. And, my first experience competing in Vegas, we placed 3rd international in the world. That's out of 80 people competing against people from all over the world with that shredded pepperoni canned mushroom pizza. I was a part of a 3-person team that got that pizza onto the table that placed 3rd. That was impressive. Nice. That same year, I placed 5th in deep dish with a Detroit style pizza I had never made before. I brought frozen dough in my suitcase. I made a pizza that I felt was the best I could put out. I placed 5th against people that sell deep dish pizzas every day. And I was pretty impressed with that. And it made me want to just push hard. So I started pushing harder, and I started making odder combinations, and I would compete in the Canadian competition. And I'll tell you, I competed in that competition probably 6 times, and I never placed above 8th place. And it was every year 8th place, 8th place, 8th place, 8th place, making, I want to call them now because I understand, gimmicky pizzas, like the cheeseburger pizza. And I made like Chipotle is a dear love of mine, and I mastered their barbacoa. So I made a barbacoa style pizza, and it placed terribly. And the flavor was next level. The other competitors eating it, they're like, dude, like, I don't know how to compete against this. It's so good. It placed like 10th. And I started looking at what was actually winning. Well, you have to go down a more kind of traditional combination route, but you have to pick. Is it Canadian? Is it American? Is it Italian? So that's when I started to realize you need to go more of an Italian route if you want to place well in these competitions. And it also helped that I heard one of the judges in conversation just say gimmicky pizzas don't win competitions. So I was like, okay, I will go back to the drawing board and I'll work really hard on this again. And that's when I went back and I came with a new style of pizza that I created. I called it a Windsor style deep dish. And it was like a hybrid take on a Sicilian and a grandma style. So right in between, not super thick, not super thin, par baked, so cooked twice, incredibly crispy. And to put my spin on it, when I would grease the pans, I put cornmeal in the bottom of the pan to give it that signature Windsor piece, right? So that particular dough is a 4-day fermentation, 2 days bulk, 2 days rolled on a tray, proof for 5 hours, par baked. Like, the amount of work that would go into making those pizzas was incredible. But that was the pizza style that won me first place in Canada and placed me fourth place in the world when I brought it to Vegas. So that's when I realized the missteps came from trying to make kind of weird things that work for your customer, but not in a competition aspect. So that pizza that I made, I called it the Dean Martin. It was a pesto base with mozza, spinach, portobello mushroom, and prosciutto, red onion, and then red and yellow cherry tomatoes. And they went on top of it. And the dough gets those huge air pockets in it, like that very artisanal pizza you're used to seeing. And it has hints of sourdough flavor because of its length of fermentation. And it's made with that 00 Italian flour, so it has complex flavor notes. And yeah, the judges were pretty shook when I displayed that one. And honestly, there was, leading up to that point, was probably 6 years of failed competition where most people would just fold up shop and just move on, right? Like, you can only take so much defeat. But the only remaining goal I have now is to win #1 in Pan in Vegas. That's my remaining goal right now, and I've gotten very close. I was in 4th, and a 10th of a point puts you in 2nd. That's how close that competition was. So I felt pretty good about that. And I'm ready for the world to resume some sort of normalcy so that I can get back to that competing world, because that's what drives me. I love competing. And that's why I have a deep dish menu in Amherstburg here that is a once a week. Every month it changes to keep me really engaged and keep my customers super engaged in fun, cool pizzas.
Are you using that? I see that you do like a monthly rotation on different styles. Are you using that to kind of gauge what customers like? I know you said earlier that what the customers don't like. I know you said earlier what the customers like isn't necessarily what the judges like, but are you still kind of using that information to guide what you use to compete later down the line?
Absolutely. Whatever your #1 selling pizza at your store is usually a pretty good indication of what you should compete with. But that being said, some of the Detroits I make, there's always 6 of them. And I like to make one that forces you to just trust me. You have to trust it's going to taste good. Yes, it looks weird. Yes, it looks fucked up. Trust me, it's going to be good. And to touch back on the odd combinations, I like putting fruit on pizza. It's one of my favorite things to do, especially in the summer. I love fruit on pizzas, and not just pineapple. Okay, you can put anything you want on there. I like to go blueberries, pomegranate seeds, cantaloupe. Like, the sky's the limit. And what
are some of the pairings?
So the blueberry will go cream sauce, mozza, spinach, chicken, braised fennel, and blueberries. And then you hit it with a balsamic reduction when it comes out of the oven. So I always try to explain to the guest, the combination of toppings is almost irrelevant because I'm trying to hit that perfect bite. So the perfect bite, you have to hit all the flavor senses. If you don't have sweet, you can't get the perfect bite. It just doesn't work. So does it matter that it had blueberries? No, because that's the sweetness it needs to hit that bite. Did it matter there was pomegranate seeds? Not really, because you need that, right? So I just try to explain it. You got to just trust that it's going to work, because it's not going to if it doesn't hit all those notes. So when you order it and you're like, don't put the pomegranate seeds on it. It's like, just don't order it, because it's not going to be right. You won't like it.
That's so interesting. I think you're right. It's like, if that is the perfect bite and you take away that aspect of it, it's no longer, I guess, perfect. I guess my question is, like, does the up to you pizza sell a lot? Because I feel like, I don't know if it does. Like, I've heard in the past, if it doesn't sell, don't put it on the menu. So what are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, the really weird pizzas don't sell that well, and it disappoints me every month sometimes, but it doesn't stop me. I'm still new to Amherstburg. I've been out here only a couple of years. These customers don't know me. They don't know that I like to do weird stuff. And interestingly enough, when we do Detroits, we sell out. Imagine telling a community that's never experienced that, "Oh, sorry, I'm sold out." What do you mean you're sold out? Yeah, sold out. Sorry, that's how it works. We make limited amounts. When we first started doing the Detroits last January, so it's been 1 year now, I was doing 50 at a time because that's how many pans I had. I could only do 50. We sold out in 20 minutes. Like, we started answering the phone at 11:20 sold out. Like, okay, we need to increase the amount of stuff. That went on for 6 months. It didn't matter how many pizzas I made. We do 80, we do 90, sold out every single week. And the customers, you're training them to call earlier. My place at 11 a.m. on a Sunday is like a call center. We don't open till 12. I got 3 people answering phones, taking orders as fast as we can take them. And I would have a customer send me a screenshot of their call log, 100 call attempts to get through. I'm like, 100 call attempts, and you have to drive 35 minutes each way to get that pizza. Like, you guys are crazy, and I love it. And that's how I knew that we were really onto something there. And I've loved making Detroit pizzas, like I said, for years. That's my true love, is pan-style pizza. And I know it's odd because our Windsor style does not dictate making things like that. But that's like I said, that's my angle. I like to change the scene, change the game up a little bit. And since I started doing Detroits, other pizza places in the Windsor, Essex area have attempted to sell Detroits. And because they see, obviously, I'm gaining a lot of traction. And some of them hit it, and some of them don't. And, I wish the best to everybody. I have no ill will. I could care less. Like, I didn't invent pizza. But it's a lot of fun, man. And it's hard to get the customer to trust me. That first menu I put out, one of the pizzas was the blueberry yum yum, and it had blueberry barbecue sauce as the base. Okay? That didn't sell. People are like, what in the world are you doing over here? So I brought a menu. After 10 months, I had a really amazing customer. He's ordered every Sunday, every Detroit. So I said, I'm going to name this menu after you. You pick the top 3 pizzas that I've ever made. And he picked the blueberry yum yum. Okay. That pizza now. So after 10 months of selling these pizzas, and I sold maybe 6 the first time I ever did it for a whole month. Well, now it was a great seller because the customers started to gain trust and understanding that even if it sounds weird, he's probably going to make us a good pizza. And as I would say, you have to trust the prof. Just trust.
Yeah, I think it's easier said than done to trust somebody. The conversation that keeps coming back in my head is speaking with my buddy Craig from Gracie's a Pizza, and he purposefully does not say anything. He does not write the word fermented on his menu because it gets the guests a question. And what's interesting is he lives in a small community, like almost everyone is a regular, and his menu is always everywhere, but people just trust him. But the lesson that he told me was don't make it sound weird. But it is weird, right? It's kind of like a disguise. Mm-hmm. So when I hear blueberry yum yum, I'm thinking to myself, that sounds like a dessert pizza. You know what I mean? And that title might already just turn me off. I would be, just me personally, I would be interested in trying that blueberry yum yum pizza. But I'm wondering if that's how your guests are reacting. If they look at the name first and they're just better get shredded pepperoni because that's what
it's definitely a possibility. But my other favorite thing is to give pizzas absolutely silly ass names. And when the customer calls to order it, they're like, "Oh, I want that blueberry one." I'm like, "Which one?" The blueberry. I'm sorry, you got to say it or I can't punch it in. The blueberry yum yum.
Don't tell my friends I'm getting a blueberry yum.
Or we did the dirty dill, and people are like, "Oh, I want that dill one." I'm like, "Sorry, I don't see it. You have to call it by name." Okay, the dirty dill. I just like to have fun, man, whether it's with the pizzas, with the customers. I just want to have fun, man. If you don't want to order the pizza because the name sounds silly, there's just more for someone else. But I get where you're coming from. But I really love making silly named pizzas with interesting toppings, and it's what pushes me. This month we have Professor Pepperoni on the menu. So I'm using Rosa Grande pepperoni, which is very uncommon to get into Canada. And again, so think about it. Shredded is the king here. I'm using cup and char round pepperoni, which is a very big American trend. So I'm using that. And then we put some bacon, pickled jalapenos. And then I have a pizza where I pipe ricotta on it already when it comes out of the oven. So for this one, we wanted to do something special. So I made a pepperoni ricotta. It's like has a hint of like a red color to it. It has crushed pepperoni in it. It has pepperoni fat in it. It has some salt. And it has some toasted fennel powder that I made. And it's just like, yeah, it's a pepperoni pizza. But you've brought it up. You brought it up a level. And the same, same with our signature pepperoni paradise. It's shredded pepperoni with round pepperoni, finished with ricotta and crushed pepperoni chips. It's Roni on Roni on Roni. And I love Roni. My dog's name is Roni, so it's all fitting together.
I love that. I love that. You mentioned earlier like that you fell in love with the pan pies, taking the class with Tony, and now you're clearly, acting on it. But like, what was it? Was it the taste, the thickness, the flavor, the process? What intrigued you so much?
All of the above, and including nobody in my area was doing it. So it was like, again, I like pushing the envelope. I was like, what can set me apart from everyone else in this city? There's like 7 or 8 major chains in the city, like Armando's, Antonino, Arcata. They all those families started working at Volcano Pizza, which was the original Windsor pizza. So all these families, we all make a very similar pizza. We all use shredded pepperoni, canned mushrooms, galati cheese, and all of us get all of those things from the same place. So I needed something that was going to help set me apart from everyone else. I'm still going to use all those same toppings, but I'm going to present it to you in a different way. And it helped doing well in Vegas because that got us some press. I'm really good at getting media attention when you have something good to talk about, and that getting us put on the front page talking about Detroit style pizza. Everyone in the city is like, what the hell is this Detroit style pizza? Like, we're right across from Detroit. People in Windsor do know what Detroit style pizza is, but we're Windsor. We have great pizza. People don't go from Windsor to Detroit to get pizza. It doesn't work like that. So yeah, the pan pizza, I just loved everything about it. I love the process. I like that it's very intricate and it has all these little touches and minute things that if you pay very close attention to all the details, you're creating something very special that other people can't create, even when they have the access to the same goods that you have.
No, that's cool. I mean, I think putting the OG toppings on a different style dough would excite me, right? If I were going to Armando's for however many years and all of a sudden I see this thick pie. I guess I was most surprised about like the fact that Detroit is right across from you all. Like literally I've driven to Windsor from Detroit when I was visiting Detroit. I like took a half day just to go over there and check it out. And it was so easy to get there. I'm pretty sure I took an Uber. And yeah, I'm surprised that like not that many people were messing with a Detroit style pie. Was it just not as known? Do you think people just didn't care? What was that conversation like to get people to try your pies?
Well, what I think really sparked the Detroit trend, not just in Windsor, but across North America, was Sean Rendezzo winning Pizza of the Year in 2012 with a Detroit style. That literally put Detroit style in the spotlight. Prior to that, I mean, Detroit style's been around since the 50s. Like, it's not like it's a new pizza, but it all of a sudden went from being Detroit's regional style to being something offered across North America. So when I went to that expo in 2014, I met Sean, and he gave a seminar that I was sitting in as well. So it was like Sean, Tony, all these really incredible, passionate pizza makers, just telling you why they love pan pizza. It's not hard to get inspired in a setting like that.
Okay. I like that. No, that makes a lot of sense. Detroit it's not like it was a new thing, but it was more widely known after Sean won that competition. And then everyone was like, all right, let me make it. And to the style's credit, it is freaking delicious.
100%.
Who doesn't like that cheese edge and a thick pie? Like glutton on glutton on glutton. It's delicious.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
So I guess my question is, and I don't know if I like helped make this known earlier, but you do have an ownership stake at Armando's.
Yep.
And you've taken on the franchise route. Are you considering, like, are you able to change the menu where you're able to do more Detroit style pizzas?
Yeah, so I have even though it's a franchise, I have a lot of freedom within my store. And, not every Armando sells Detroit styles. A few of them do. And a few of them sell them every day of the week. I only sell them on Sunday. You could call me on Wednesday and tell me it was your dog's dying wish to have a Detroit style. And I would tell you, I'm really sorry, but they're only on Sundays. And if I wanted to do them every day, I could. But the amount of work that we put into our Detroits is different than other people. And I told you before, I don't sweat the details. Every one of them is important, and my staff knows it, and I know it, and we don't cut corners in any way, shape, or form. So to do just a Detroit Sunday, we start on Friday. We make the dough Friday. We make the sauce Saturday. We grease the pans. Like, there's hours of additional work that go into one day's sales, and including on Sunday when we make those pizzas, you're setting up pans, and then you're managing the pans throughout the day. Because obviously, it's not just set it and forget it. Like, there's work that goes into it still. And I'm still running a regular day of operation on top of that. So circling back, yes, I can pretty much mess around with my menu any way I want. I have a group of pizzas on there I call the Professor's Pizzas. They're still a Windsor style pizza, but again, it's my twist. Classic Windsor combinations twisted in my direction on how I like to do things. And, that's my signature pizza at that store is our Pepperoni Paradise. And it touches on classic Windsor and moving into like a new class of Windsor where we get the round pepperonis out now. Like, yes, they're not forbidden around here. They're just frowned upon, but we put them on the pizza too. And like when we make the crispy pepperonis for it, it just elevates it to another level. And that crispy pepperoni because you're from Windsor, off topic. When we're from Windsor, you go to Red Wing games because it's a 10-minute drive to go to a Red Wing game. They sell that Little Caesars pizza at the arena. Yeah, it's shit pizza, but it's so nostalgic to eat it at the Red Wing game. It has that really awesome pepperoni flavor. The crushed pepperonis replicate that flavor. So when you put it on the pizza, customers eat it and they tell me it takes them back to their childhood, that pepperoni flavor. And that's why we do what we do.
Would a concept of just doing Detroit style pizza ever seem possible to you in the future?
100%.
Do you ever see?
Oh yeah. I think 100% is doable. I don't think it's something I'm going to be doing anytime soon. I'm pretty comfortable where I'm at with my role here. And I think a lot about branching out onto my own and trying to do something different where, just like we talked about here, but I don't know. I'm really happy with where things are. And sometimes if it's not broken, why fix it?
No, I wasn't sure if like where your heart was at when it comes to the style of pie. I wasn't sure if it was something that you wanted to make on the daily. And I don't know if it is or it isn't, but it seems like it is a lot of work. And so it might not be something you want to do
even day. Making pizza in our regular, everything's a lot of work if you want to do anything good. And nothing good comes without that work. So sure, I could half-ass it and make a Detroit that is easy, but it wouldn't have the same value. And when people tell you they're driving an hour one direction to come get your pizza on Sunday, you're not doing that for a half-ass pizza. So yeah, it's a lot of work, but that's something I'm not afraid of. And so is my staff knows that too. I'm not afraid to work. So
I love that. How many Detroits are you selling now today?
75 or so, 70, 75. Really depends on the time of year. In the summer, I notice that sale will dip a bit because out here, we're on the water. A lot of people are out on their boats on Sunday. And if it's 90 degrees, do you really want to eat a Detroit style pizza on your boat? I mean, I don't think I do. But when it comes to wintertime, there's less to do. So people are more willing to just hop in the car. I still do takeout only. People have car picnics in my parking lot, and it's Amherstburg has a lot of really nice waterfront parks, so it's really easy to grab a pie from me and go 2 minutes down the road to the park.
It looks like a beautiful area, by the way.
It is really nice, and I love being out here. It's a smaller suburb of Windsor, about 25 minutes south of Windsor, and it has all the big city amenities inside of a very small town.
what's next for Professor Za?
Well, we're going to keep pushing on the pathway that we're on. I'm super excited about the pizza documentary. I had an opportunity to see it at the hometown screening we did here. And even though I was in it, that was the first time I ever saw it. And I was really happy of the way George told our story. And I think it's a great opportunity to get our story out to the world that was not being told before. When we placed well in Vegas, I remember going back the next year, or the first year when we placed well, people were like, who the fuck are these guys? Where'd they come from? Because that competing scene's pretty competitive. These people all know each other. And yeah, I gained a lot of really great friendships that you maintain through social media. And it was really cool. So I forgot what our question was because I got distracted with my thoughts.
What's next?
Yeah. Yeah, I just want to keep pushing the boundaries of what I'm doing. I love it. I love making pizzas. I love owning a pizza place. I love leading a team of people and inspiring people. I'm 35. I'm the oldest guy at the restaurant. So I'm the old guy, and you're inspiring the next generation. And whether it's the phone kids that come and work for me and stay with me for years and can be trained to do other things, and they've come to tell you that they decided to take culinary management in school because they really love it now. That's kind of cool. And I like doing stuff like this, talking with people about my passion and my love. And yeah, the documentary was super cool. And I'm trying to just work on some new things. I'm working on some small retail items. Like we make a house-made ranch at the restaurant, next level. Like people are like, oh, it's just ranch. It's just ranch. No, you try this, you're like, whoa, this is not just ranch. And I like to do that with everything that I make. Like you spend a lot of time and energy working on one thing, making it really good, getting people hyped. My partner helps manage a really amazing social media campaign. And, social media is key to touching other demographics, especially in our area here. So yeah, I'm going to keep pushing. I'm hoping that you'll see that done well in Vegas in 22 or 23 or whatever COVID brings for us here. So
very cool. I'm a lover of ranch. You gotta share the ranch recipe. I mean, it's not going to be exact, obviously, but what are you doing differently?
No bullshit in it. It's just real things. It's when I look at what's in it, I could tell you where it came from. I know what the ingredients are. And yes, it makes it less shelf stable. But as humans, we're going in the wrong direction by engineering our food to last on a shelf. Like, I'd rather it go bad in the fridge in 2 weeks, but I knew what was in it. So it's simple. It's just literally just mayonnaise, sour cream, and seasonings. And it seems simple, but it's fucking crazy how good it is. People come and they order 2 or 3 large tubs of it to just take home and keep in their fridge. And they send me video of their kids eating it with spoons. I'm like, we're on to something over here.
Oh yeah, I get excited over ranch, and I get depressed about using like Hidden Valley on my pizza. I literally had pizza 2 days ago, and my wife was like, "Can you get ranch, please?" I was like, "This place serves Hidden Valley. You're not going to want that." And she ate it anyway, but I definitely had to pass. I think they have blue cheese that they make in house, and I asked for that instead.
Fair enough.
It's just
one of our best selling Detroits ever was the chicken bacon ranch. And it was just bacon and fried chicken. And when it came out of the oven, you crush it with the ranch, some more bacon, some green onions, a little bit of hot sauce. Number one selling Detroit style. We brought that one back probably 4 different times because people would just like blow my DMs up wanting it so badly. So we would just keep like kind of bringing that one back around. Because usually every month it's new pizzas.
That's actually one of my favorite combinations. It was the combination that I would always order at the pizzeria that I would work at. I would take it home to me and my wife, and we would just smash it with a side of ranch. So good. Yeah. It was like ranch on top and then ranch on the side. I don't know. Man. Some people.
I just love making sauces and different things, and that's why I like making those Detroits. Is that a lot of them get finished with interesting finishes and garnishes. And when we do a Detroit Sunday, there's 3 people working the oven, and 2 of them garnish pizzas. That's all they're doing. When I hire these kids, I look for like two of the phone girls that I have, you can tell they're kind of artistic, and they have that touch. You need like that nice touch sometimes to finish them. So I give them a quick little tutorial on what I'm looking for. Watch how they do it. I'm like, shit, you do it better than I do. We're good to go here. And yeah, so I come up with lots of different finishing sauces. We made a spicy maple syrup the other day. My customers loved it. We did like a hot Canadian. We called it the Ryan Reynolds. It was just shredded pepperoni, fresh mushroom and bacon, finished with our red sauce and spicy maple syrup.
I love the names. I love the combination.
Oh yeah, and you have to call it the Ryan Reynolds. We're like, they're like, I want that hot Canadian. I'm like, I don't see that on the menu. Again, I like messing with people. I really love it. Even I mess with my staff sometimes, but in a good way, not in that like mean way. Just mess around with them, and just like to have fun, man.
I'm just curious to see what type of flour do you typically use at the restaurant?
Yeah, so we were using just like a Robin Hood all-purpose right now. Like I said, that's your YouTube commenters. They think the Windsor dough is not of high quality, but that's just what works for us. We use an all-purpose bread baker's flour. It works great for the application we have. And when I make some more artisanal products, we do use like Caputo 00. And that's honestly in our area, it's hard to get still. So not all my suppliers carry it. And a lot of them carry what's, specific to the Windsor region, which is just all purpose flour.
You said you used California tomatoes earlier. Do you have a specific brand?
Yeah, we love Stanislaw. And that's going to be pretty common, like across the U.S. as well.
Mm-hmm. Okay, yeah, definitely. And you said for the cheese, you use.
Oh yeah, that's when I was working at one of our other stores that I was helping build up to be able to be sold as a franchise. It was a store out in the county, and a lady comes and picks up the pizza, and she's like, "I love Armando's pizza. Galati uses all of the milk from my farm to make this cheese," and. That was a really cool kind of moment. Like you're connecting with that person on a whole new level, whereas they're eating that pizza knowing that they had a hand played in creating that. And that's pretty cool.
What ovens are you guys using over at Armando's? I've seen different ones from the different videos, but what are you using at your store?
So most of the stores are using Baker's Prides. A couple of the stores have Rotoflexes, and my store has a Lincoln conveyor. And that's just what was at the store when I bought it. I'm not a big conveyor fan. I never was. I like deck ovens, but it was what was at the store when I bought it. So I was like, you know what? I'm going to find a way to make this work. I modified the procedure they were using to make pizzas to make them in a way that I feel more comfortable using that oven. And I'll tell you what, I think we're putting out a pizza out of that oven that if you didn't know it came out of that conveyor, you wouldn't know.
Awesome. I love it. What are you doing differently to make it? Because from my understanding, a conveyor belt oven has limited. What are the limitations on a conveyor belt oven, and why do people think like, oh, that couldn't have been made on a conveyor belt oven?
Conveyor, I think a lot of people just look down on it because it's like it's made for mass production, right? Like that's what Domino's, Little Caesars, all those use because it's basically you don't have to train somebody how to work that oven. My biggest difference was most of the people use screens when you make that pizza in that oven because they're like, it's a belt, right? You're like, what do? I don't know what to do. I just throw it right on the belt. Like, fuck the screen. Get out of here. I just throw it right on the belt. I put cornmeal on my board, just like a regular like Windsor pizza. I throw it on the belt. It comes out of the oven perfect. Never had a problem. People see me do that from like my Instagram and stuff, and they're like, what are you doing? I'm like, I'm making pizza. Don't worry. It's all good. Like sometimes you got to just not be scared. Like when I first did it, I was like, what's the worst that happens? This doesn't work. Then I know I don't have to think about it anymore. That's how a lot of my combinations come to be is something gets stuck in here and you're like, I don't know if it's a good idea or not. I got to just try it. Cause what's the worst that happens? It's just shit and you just don't have to make it again. Okay. No problem. Or maybe you're like, oh my goodness, I think I'm onto something right now. It's literally been my philosophy for the last 15 years of making pizza.
I like that. What, let me ask you this. Is there anything that you have to do? Cause I imagine if the cornmeal's on the belt, does it get messy? Do you have to maintain it, differently?
No,
is there anything that you have to do?
It's pretty straightforward. We just have like a little brush. You just brush the end of the oven where you put the pizza into. But like, all those conveyors, they have like a little tray that goes underneath where you throw the pizza. So you just clean it out every day. It's no big deal. Makes no difference. Like it's actually a really good process. I really enjoy cooking it like that. I still prefer a deck oven, But now that I've been using this oven for 2 years, I'm not against it.
I wanted to ask you, like, you mentioned your ownership a little bit. Can you talk a little bit about that process and how that ended up working
Yeah,
out?
man. So, like I said, I worked for these guys for a long, long time. And when I got to my later 20s, I was like, if this is what I'm doing, I need to own a store. Like, we need to partner. We need to do something, like something so that it's good for both of us. It's obviously good for them, for me to be there. They were paying me well. It's not like they were taking advantage of me by any means. I was getting paid very well. And I was like, I want more. I want more from this pizza world. I want to be a part of it. So I partnered with them on a store, and that led to a partnership in many stores. And because now I'm upper management, it led me to an opportunity to buy a location that just wasn't doing well. One of the franchisees wanted to sell, so I was able to step in and buy a turnkey store for a very good price. But it took an incredible amount of work to clean, fix. And then after that, it took an absolutely incredible amount of work to staff and keep open. And that store was really hurt when I came out here and took over. Basically, when COVID started, I decided I wanted to just focus on taking care of myself and my family. So just very mutual split on partnerships and just go work at my own store. Still work for Armando's and basically fix that store. It would not have survived had I not gone out there. So yeah, it took a long time to get there. And I just try to tell people, if that's something that you want, you can't give up when times are tough. There was so many times I wanted to just do something different, quit. This is too hard. This isn't what I want anymore. There were so many times, but I was like, if you've already put in 12, 15, 18 years, turning back now means all that other time was for nothing. So yeah, it was hard. And yeah, I got what I wanted, and it's incredibly hard still. There's no such thing as easy business ownership. So if it's something somebody wants, you just have to go for it. Don't let people talk you out of it. Just go, put your head down, work hard, achieve those goals, because nobody else is going to help you get them. When someone sees how hard you work, sometimes they try to sway you away from that. You shouldn't be working like that, or it's never going to happen. I had lots of those people in my year telling me it's never going to work out for you. What are you doing? Go find something different. Why are you working this way? I don't know, man. Like, and I tell people, there was no profound moment that all of a sudden I did that one key item that unlocked everything. It was literally continuous hard work until they're just like, hey, you said you wanted to partner. Are you ready? I didn't do anything special that day to achieve that conversation. It was the cumulative efforts of years over years of dedication and hard work. And yeah, I've never been handed anything that I have. I'm not family with these people. They didn't hand me a store because I'm their son. I worked my ass off. And yeah, if that's something somebody wants, just go for it, man. Like, what's the worst that happens? It doesn't work. Like, you can go find another job. Everything will be okay. And just go for it.
I like that. Especially, like, if you get to the point where you're just working hard and you don't get what you want, the lessons that you've learned can be applied to anything else in life. So as long as you have that good solid foundation of working hard, you're going to be set, or you're setting yourself up for success. And as you were telling me about how you double down on the restaurant, and people were kind of questioning you about your work ethic. I can't help but think of a story I just heard recently about Michael Phelps. I think he won like 7 medals in one Olympic competition, and I think in one of the competitions, after having won multiple medals already, he won one of his last competitions by like a split second, 0.1 of a second. And it turns out that when Michael Phelps trains, he trains, like this crazy Olympic training type of swim, but he does that like 2 or 3 times. So it's like one regular person's training. He does it like multiple times, and people are always telling him like, yo, you're going to overwork yourself. You're going to, you're going to hurt yourself. You're going to overtrain. And what ended up happening was that because he overtrained and overworked himself, he was able to have that endurance when the moment counted. When it came down to finally competing, he was able to, get that last stride in so that he could win because he was trained and ready for that opportunity.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, I see that, like you have been committing to this pizza life for so many years, and like, yo, good for you for taking, for actually committing and for taking the opportunity when it presented itself.
Thank you. And I do agree that hard work's very, very important, but I've also learned that there is a very fine line and taking rest. And that's something that my partner has really been preaching to me for the last few years. And it's something I've started to take a lot more seriously now, to the point where I close the store 2 weeks a year, because it's not just me that needs a break, it's the staff too. And, sometimes staff isn't in a financial position to just tell you that they want a vacation. Well, I do whatever I can to help them be able to take that vacation. Like, I give monthly bonuses to my staff already. So on the month where I know I'm closing for that week, I delay their bonus by a week and I give it to them right the day we're leaving. So it's like, yeah, we're going to be closed for a week. Here's some money. I hope you're going to be good. Take some rest. And even this year at Christmas, I closed the 24th to the 27th. Not many pizza places close Christmas Eve. In Canada, Boxing Day is the day after Christmas. That's a big day in Canada for shopping. I closed all those days. And you know what? I've realized now, sometimes there's a little bit more to life than chasing those dollars around. So my store is in a good place. That's why I can afford to take time. But it's a very delicate balance. There was some periods of time where I think I wanted to stop doing the business because I was working too much. And my partners really helped me understand that taking a break helps you re-energize your creativity and your focus. And I couldn't agree with that more. Leading up to the first time I closed for a week, I was reaching a point where I didn't want to create new menu items. I didn't want to experiment anymore. I just wanted to go and get my job done and come home. And that kind of sucked the life right out of you. And when I closed for that first week, I was very nervous. Never closed the store for a week. Is this going to work? Are people going to forget about me? When we came back that following week, it never stopped being busy for a whole year. Like, the people missed us. So it let me know that the customer understands you need a break too. And if they don't, well, maybe they're not the right person to talk to. So when I had a customer call me at Christmas, they wanted a catering for Christmas Eve. And I was like, oh, sorry, we're closed that day. I'm giving the day to my staff and myself for our families. Oh, well, this other location's open. I'm like, that's nice. Call them then, because I'm not going to be here. And it was kind of like, that customer is the type of customer that just believes that you should just work. It's okay. Just go to work. But there's more to it sometimes. And I think it's times with family, friends, resting, not just here just to work. I've tried to create a really great life, and now it's time to also enjoy that. So it's a very, like I've said, very, very fine line of working extremely hard, but knowing when you need to at least take a small break. The work will be there when you get back. It ain't going nowhere.
I agree. I mean, you have to, quote unquote, sharpen the saw and take that time, because you're using it all year long. And like you said, you lose that creativity when you're just focused on, I guess, surviving or just like getting the day done. It's like when all you do is put in that time, and you just you get so burnt out that you just want to leave afterward. You don't have that extra energy. It's not going to be a good road to follow. It's not going to be good for your business, for your life, your personal life, your relationships.
You even lose a lot of problem solving skills when you're working too much, because your mind's just not sharp anymore. It's tired. And when your mind's tired, you start making bad decisions sometimes. And those can be on a multitude of, not saying you make decisions that ruin your life per se, but like you make sometimes these minute decisions that you might not have made inside your business that can have negative effects sometimes. And sometimes you're just tired, and you're just, it just doesn't work sometimes. Or you got to just take that time. And even now, I only work 5 days now. Used to always be 6. I got a really great staff. And as much as I do great things, I couldn't do any of this without my staff. So when the other owners ask me, like, how are you doing this? How are your sales so good? Yada, yada, yada. I'm like, it's about the staff, man. Like, I take care of these people. I treat them good. I pay them well. I provide an exceptional work environment. And because it goes beyond money, you have to still treat them well. And I'm good to my people, and in turn, they're good to me. And that's why I can take a day off and let them run my store, knowing they're running it the way I run it. And, it goes back to that first conversation we had where I'm inspiring them and they want to work on that level because they see me work on that level and they want, me to be proud of them. And, I tell them all the time, it's like you're still good to them. You tell them they're doing a good job. You tell them that, you're proud of what they're doing. And every month I actually hand them their bonus check. It doesn't just go on their paycheck. I want to connect with them, tell them what I thought they did awesome. I've had one employee who's been there since I started that store. And when I hired him 3 years ago to who he is now, I told him, I'm like, I'm honestly proud of the person you've become. And the cook you are now is not even the person who showed up here 3 years ago. And that's not just on me. That's also on him for having to work hard. But it's easy to work hard when you're in that environment and you're working right next to your owner who's busting his ass too. And you're in the shit together. It's really easy to respect people like that.
Is this like connection with the employees something you have because you yourself was an employee at one point?
Well, of course. And, I worked through the ranks. I was literally a nobody that folded boxes to their corporate pizza chef overseeing the pizza operations. And you understand that it's more than just the product. It's the people that make it and building connections within them. And it's important to understand what motivates that individual because they're all different. They're not all motivated by money. So the ones that are, you motivate them with money. The ones that are motivated, with one-on-one conversations and, emotional support, you give them that. And it's not a one-stop shop. They're humans. They're not machines. So understanding what makes them tick, it gives you insight into their life. And like, I don't go out after work and spend time with them. We don't go and have drinks together. I know them on a professional level and I know enough of their personal life to understand what makes them tick, because personally, I don't really want to know everything about everybody. I don't want to like meddle in your life. That's your life. I'm just your boss at work, not outside of work. And it's important to connect with them. They work hard for you when they know you and they respect you and they work really hard, and it helps. It's really good. My turnover's so low at my store. I got people from other stores trying to come work for me. All the drivers that worked for one of my competitors in Amherstburg came and started working for me because one of them came and worked for me. He went back and told the ball how great it is. They all came and worked for me. And anytime one of them has to leave, they're always so sad they have to move on, because we all know the pizza place is not a permanent stop for many. It's just a crossing ground to get to your next stage. And they're always sad to leave because it's the best job they ever had. And it's really cool to hear them tell you that on a personal level where they're not just saying it to get their paycheck. Like, they truly enjoyed working for you, their families. And that's the thing, is I'm in a small town. So these kids, their families respect me and want to provide business because they know the type of environment I'm creating.
That's pretty awesome to be able to have that responsibility and to be able to create that culture. I feel like where did that like psychological background come from? Because I feel like what you're talking about, finding the motives, finding what makes them tick, is very rooted in human psychology. Did you learn that from somewhere, or is that just like a natural instinct of yours to have kind of figured out?
I mean, after you work for other people for a long time, you kind of watch what they do, good and bad, and you decide how you want to, take those traits and move forward with them. And then also, it's what you put in your off time. So when you listen to podcasts like Gary Vee and he pumps you up and talks to you about how to engage with people properly, you combine that with your worldly experiences and you can start to experiment with it. Was I this good at this always? No, absolutely not. It took a lot of work on a personal level to be able to open up a bit sometimes to your staff and show them that you're human too. And it takes a lot to sometimes, when that person calls you and says, I can't come in because of X, Y, and Z, obviously the boss's first reaction is upset. But instead now I need to think about what they're going through. What are they dealing with? Why can't they come in? I know they want to be here. So what's actually going on? And it makes you understand a little bit better. And you have to understand that they're humans and I'm human, and together we can make some sort of resolution to work together. But it was just from a lot of learning through life. And then, like I said, you listen to podcasts. I have a really good partner that, we met about 3 years ago. And without her helping me through a lot of these things, she doesn't come from the restaurant world. She's just a person with worldly experiences that can help offer her perspective into your business, which is actually almost like an invaluable thing because she doesn't come from my world. So when she can see it in a different way than I do, it helps provide me with insight, because when you work for a company for 20 years, you can only see it one way. Like, I've been with Armando's 20 years. I can only see this business one way. I can't see it any other way. So sometimes that outside person sees it, tells you, why don't you try doing it like this? And when I started making those changes at my store with the personal connections with the staff, which I did not always have, and the store was in such a bad place, there was no bonuses or anything like that. Like, the store was like upside down. So as things started to get better, we build connections. We motivate more with money and, a great environment. And the better the business runs, your mental state gets better. It's easy to provide all of these really amazing things to them. But a lot of it comes, you have to have a good partner, man. Yeah. If you don't have a good partner, it's an underrated thing to have. And we have complementary skills, not overlapping skills. She cannot work in the kitchen. I can't do the stuff that she does, but together we make crazy fucking menus, and we literally have brought a staff together of people that are incredible. And that's on her and me working together. It's not just me.
Oh, so spot on. I love the complementary skill set that, partners bring. I feel like, my wife is my sounding board. She's kind of what you described as someone who like looks at things one way and like tells me that, oh, why don't you do it this way? I super agree with that. And just going back to what you said earlier about just empathy, I'm a Gary Vee fan too. And like, yeah, that her and I, my wife and I, always, she's the one who reminds me to just try to be more empathetic all the time and just be more understanding, that, like, I don't know what the person is going through in the situation. But that definitely, changed my life to be able to just be more calm and like understanding and I don't know, like, and I let more people into my life because I don't think that they're out to get me or they're out to screw me over. But instead they really do want to, help me out. And it just didn't turn out.
And honestly, for seeming like it's such a simple idea to have, it's very hard to actually implement and use on a regular basis. Because it's very easy to sometimes just make a snap judgment or snap to anger easily. Whereas if you kind of just step back for a second, you realize that most of the issues going on aren't that big a deal. And there's resolutions for everything. And a lot of that comes back to, your mind has to be rested enough to understand that. Because when your mind's tired, it's not putting those small connections together. When you're tired, you snap to anger quick. You make really snap, rash decisions that maybe weren't the best. And that's when understanding, hey, working that 70 hours a week doesn't make you better. It just because you're working, it doesn't mean that you're doing good work. You're just working and getting that rest, which up until a couple of years ago, honestly, I'd been working 6 days for probably 15 years. I just thought this is what you do. I tell my staff now, I'm like, I can't do the Tuesday anymore. If we can't make it work without me here, we can just close Tuesdays too. And the way I incentivize them is very hourly based. So they want to be there. Truthfully, they wanted to prove they could run the store without me. So, and again, that circles back to you creating a positive enough environment where these group of individuals want to prove to you how good they can do. It's special, bro. It really is. Sometimes I step back and think about it. I'm like, this is fucking crazy.
You were able to turn it around by the daily grind. It didn't happen overnight. You got a team together. You were able to, turn a negative store into a positive. Is there anything else that we didn't cover that was able to kind of flip this store around for you? Because I feel like that is such an important
It was just hard work, man. Like, there were so many times after those, when COVID first hit, that's when I went out there and worked. That's when I really started diving deep. And I was like, this place is not good. There's a lot of problems, from operations to finances. The average human being probably would not have been able to even comprehend what to do. And I'm very fortunate. We hired a brand new manager that just happened to start March 1st. And you know what? Without her, I couldn't have got the store fixed. And she left in September of last year. After about a year and a half, she felt like, my time has run its course here. She, we no longer had, I think, equal vision on what we were trying to achieve. And again, very mutual, no hard feelings towards either person. She worked out her 2 weeks, and I was grateful to have her there at that time. And again, it comes back down to my partner helping me fix the store, because my solution was, I'm done. Let's sell it. I can't do this. It's not happening. I worked there for almost a year with no paycheck, 70 hours a week, no days off, to fix the shit. And it wasn't just me. It was the team of people with me. And it was just sheer hard work. And I tell people, there's one thing in life that can never be beat, and it's hard work and determination. It doesn't matter what's stacked against you. If you're not afraid of working to get it, you just can't be beat. It's impossible.
I love it. I wish you all the success, moving forward. It seems like you have a great foundation now, and you're only going to build on it. And I guess my final question today, before I just want to say thank you for being here, but my final question for you is, what do you want to leave the audience with?
Don't give up on your dreams. Don't let someone sway you from what you have inside your mind. If you want it, just go fucking get it. That's it. And if it doesn't work, then it didn't work. That's it. I give that advice to my sister, to my friends, to my mom. Just try it. Fuck, what's the worst that happens? You lose a little bit of money? It's just money, man. Like, there's more to it. It's easy for someone to say it's just money. I get it. That's a kind of a shitty thing to say at times. But like, man, if your mind is set on something, just go for it. Don't let anybody stop you. And just remember, if you're passionate and you work hard, you can't be beat. It's impossible, man. People buy passion. That I've made a career off of passionately selling pizza. And I can tell you it works, because I've done all of this with just pizza. It's pretty crazy to step back and think about, actually, when you zoom out, look at the big picture, and you're like, I did all this with pizza. So it's just pizza. And we both know it's not just pizza.
Yeah. The sky's the limit with the pizza.
Hell yeah, dude.
We love. Yo, thank you. Thank you for this. I felt inspired at the end, and I just want to ask you before I dip out, is there anything that we missed that we should?
No, I felt pretty good about what we talked about, man. I love sharing my story. And my story is just one of hard work, and went from a guy at 15 to folding boxes at 35, owning a store. That was my dream. So yeah, it took 20 years, but nothing good comes easy, brother.
Hey. Hell no. No, I know. That's why I look at this podcast every day, and I'm just like, yo, I just got started and I'm already like where I'm at now. Imagine what happens 10 or 20
if you just don't stop and you just keep working, it only grows.
Just a clarifying question. You said that you were the head corporate pizza maker at Armando's, and you were running a store, and then you dropped that. Did you officially drop that position?
Yeah.
Okay.
I just
got it. To focus.
Yeah, just take care of myself, my family. I still, the work that I do still greatly benefits the brand as a whole. I'm attracting customers to the brand, and I love doing that. This is a brand I helped build too. Like, yeah, I own an individual store. When I started working for these guys, there was only 3 locations. Like, we're at 10 now. I was a big part of helping to build that out. Not all the credit goes to me, 100%, but I was a part of building out that team, that process, building stores into sellable franchises. That was my first taste at it. I built a small location from 40 grand a month in sales to 80, and we flipped her, and that was that. And I did that again off sheer hard work and determination. And that's it. If you know what you want and you're not willing to give up, you can do it.
I love it. Thank you so much, Dean. I appreciate this conversation, and I think the listeners are
awesome. I hope they do. I really love chatting with you, and if anybody ever wants to just chat, if you hit me up in the DMs, I pretty much answer every DM. Like, I'm down to talk about just about anything. So, just need some inspirational words at times. Give me a hit me up. I'm here.